Why are we stressing? Yeah, he might owe 50 million.
Just with those two fights, Canelo and the Pacquiao fight, 400 million, just with those two fights.
Imagine getting a letter from the IRS saying you owe millions in taxes. That is how Floyd Mayweather got knocked out by the IRS.
Stephen A. Smith, widely recognized for his bold and unfiltered commentary, has raised questions about the financial standing of Floyd Mayweather Jr. He pointed to what he has a disconnect between Mayweather's statements about earning huge sums from each fight and financial responsibilities he continues to face, including reported matters linked to the Internal Revenue Service. According to Smith, an athlete who has achieved Mayweather's level of success and accumulated such wealth would not typically be expected to encounter these types of financial issues. He also noted that ongoing disputes related to money could influence how Mayweather's career and legacy are remembered in the longiun.in summary. His comments emphasize the contrast between Mayweather's public reputation as a figure of financial power and the legal and financial challenges associated with him.
It's up to about $140 million that you're throwing around. I don't understand this, but here's all I gotta say. For those of you that are looking at him and you're saying to yourself, excuse me, according to the reports, he makes about $1.5 million per show or whatever. Why are we stressing? Yeah, he might owe 50 million.
In his analysis, Stephen A. Smith showed noticeable surprise regarding the financial choices made by Floyd Mayweather Jr., emphasizing how unusual it seems for someone who has generated such vast earnings to still be associated with ongoing disputes. He explained that these developments bring attention not only to financial decision-making, but also to the potential impact on Mayweather's standing within the sport community. Smith highlighted the need for consistent financial discipline, particularly for athletes operating at the highest level of fame and income. He also pointed out that Mayweather's situation could act as a warning example, illustrating how ineffective money management might influence how career and overall legacy are judged in the years ahead.
You know, kind of sold that. It was great marketing. He's not a boxer, but hey, he was a knockout artist in the UFC. I get it. John Gotti III, I don't know anything about him. I'm not trying to disrespect him. And yes, I'm being smart. I'm not trying to disrespect the grandson of a mobster. Fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is this. When you're great, when you're elite, not just anybody deserves to be in your pristine space. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about on the street or anything like that. Boxing is your thing.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., often referred to as Money Mayweather, has carefully crafted a public identity centered on extraordinary financial achievement, frequently pointing to earnings of roughly $400 million from his high-profile fights against Manny Pacquiao and Canelo Alvarez. The 2015 matchup with Pacquiao alone brought in more than $400 million in overall revenue, with Mayweather reportedly securing a substantial share of that total. Even with these impressive numbers, concerns about his finances emerged when the Internal Revenue Service filed a lien connected to approximately $22.2 million in unpaid taxes from 2015. The development sparked closer examination of how his wealth was being handled, particularly in light of his image built on luxury and financial control. Mayweather later responded by explaining that he had already paid $26 million in taxes for that same year. He dismissed the criticism, maintaining that his financial position remained strong and that his obligations were being properly managed. The gap between his public portrayal of financial power and the reported tax issue reflects the challenges involved in overseeing massive earnings, even at the highest level of professional sports.
He's fighting again, and they say that he's fighting for money. How could that be?
Your team. You know, it's all about who you surround yourself with. I don't know who's his promoter. I gave him the option before. Well, Manny spoke before about fighting the first time. I think I offered him, $40 million. I don't know if it was, but I told him I would wire him $20 million within 48 hours. And then at that particular time, he said he wanted 50-50, and he got off the phone. And at that time, I think I was going to make for that fight probably $75 million at that time, somewhere upwards of $75 million. But it's all about timing. I took my time, I waited, we communicated.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. frequently looks back on his upbringing, outlining a path that started in tough conditions and eventually led him to the top of the boxing world. During his childhood, he lived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in New Jersey alongside several relatives, at times dealing with difficult living situations, including periods without basic utilities. His mother struggled with addiction, while his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., spent significant portions of his early life in prison. In spite of these obstacles, Mayweather discovered purpose through boxing. He has described becoming independent at a young age, building a strong sense of self-reliance. When his father returned, he became an important influence, instilling discipline and focus, and urging him to prove himself through his performances rather than seeking attention beyond the ring. Mayweather has often described his mindset with the phrase, "It's never good enough," highlighting his constant push for improvement and his ability to tune out outside criticism. Throughout his career, he stayed committed to his objectives, largely unaffected by public perception. His journey ultimately reflects persistence and determination, illustrating how he rose above early hardships to reach the highest level of the sport.
Before I can take care of anyone outside the home, I must take care of home first. So what I believe in every day is I strengthen my children and my family by giving them wisdom about life. In the boxing world, my dad taught me also, the less you get hit, the longer you can last in the sport of boxing. That's anything in life. For a person that's working a 9 to 5, an everyday job, you want to take as less punishment as possible on the job so you can last a very long time and feed your family. And then my dad also taught me this. It's never good enough. No matter what, it's never good enough.
Stephen A. Smith has been vocal in his criticism of Floyd Mayweather Jr. for continuing to take part in exhibition matches against opponents considered significantly less competitive, including Conor McGregor. He has raised questions about why Mayweather remains involved in these events despite having already earned massive amounts during his career, including an estimated $280 million from the McGregor bout. Smith believes these appearances appear to be driven more by financial incentives than by genuine competitive ambition, though he further stated that participating in these types of exhibitions may influence how Mayweather's legacy is perceived, pointing out that athletes of his stature are generally expected to face elite-level competition. In his view, the level of opposition in these later events does not reflect the standard Mayweather encountered during his prime years, which could shape how his career is evaluated in the future. Smith also highlighted what he as a contradiction between Mayweather's vast earnings and his financial responsibilities, referencing the reported $22.2 million tax lien issued by the Internal Revenue Service in 2015. He questioned how someone with such financial success could face these kinds of issues, suggesting that more effective financial management might have avoided them. Mayweather's public persona has additionally been defined by his visible displays of wealth and lifestyle. In May 2024, reports spread claiming that he distributed $30,000 in cash to 3 homeless individuals near the Crypto.com arena. While the story gained attention online and received praise from some audiences, doubts arose when Mayweather later posted content from Dubai around the same period. His apparent presence abroad led some to question the accuracy or context of the report, as the timeline created uncertainty regarding his direct involvement.
So where is Floyd Mayweather? Is he still stuck in Dubai? Is he back in the United States? Because, there's been a lot of contradicting stories coming out about this, but we do have an update of exactly what's going on. And I do think there is some lying involved. I don't know who's lying, but somebody is lying. And that's what we're going to figure out in today's video. By the end of this video, I hope we figure out where Floyd Mayweather is. So on the 2nd of May, TMZ came out with this article. It says Floyd Mayweather gives $30K to group of homeless men before Clippers game. Now this comes amid, rumors of Floyd Mayweather being stuck in Dubai because he owes people money. And, these are coming from trustworthy sources, Gervonta Davis, Floyd Mayweather, people who know about Floyd Mayweather's inner life. But back to TMZ. So they reported Floyd Mayweather was courtside for last night's pivotal Clippers versus Mavericks game, but before money got to the arena, he was handing it out, blessing 3 homeless men with $30K. Now, there are no pictures, there is no video of this happening, but there is an official TMZ article, and TMZ usually gets it right. TMZ also said, "We're told Mayweather began talking to the guys and decided he wanted to help, so he busted out his backpack and blessed each guy with 10 racks.
This situation illustrates how complicated public perception can become and the difficulties that come with managing a high-profile image. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was recently connected to a reported act of generosity in Los Angeles that quickly attracted widespread media coverage. Not long after, however, questions emerged regarding the timeline of the report, leading some to question whether the event occurred exactly as it was described at the same time. Mayweather was reportedly in Dubai, which added another layer of uncertainty. The contrast between the claimed act and his confirmed location led to speculation about whether the story may have been framed in a way that enhances public image. While charitable gestures often strengthen a celebrity's reputation, any inconsistency can produce the opposite outcome. In this instance, the discrepancy between the report and his whereabouts raised concerns about credibility, with some interpreting the situation as possibly influenced by publicity rather than genuine intent. This episode demonstrates how quickly public narratives can be challenged and highlights the importance of aligning statements with verifiable facts. It also contributed to growing scrutiny surrounding Mayweather's overall image. Beyond that, Mayweather, widely regarded as one of boxing's all-time greats, has continued to draw attention regarding his financial matters. Despite owning enormous sums throughout his career, including a reported $220 million from his 2015 fight with Manny Pacquiao, he faced issues with the Internal Revenue Service. In 2017, the IRS filed a federal tax lien of approximately $22.2 million tied to unpaid taxes from 2015.in response. Mayweather sought additional time from the U.S. tax court, requesting a delay until after his 2017 bout with Conor McGregor, which was expected to generate substantial revenue. He explained that a significant portion of his wealth was not immediately accessible, making prompt payment challenging. The IRS, however, maintained that his level of income suggested he had the capacity to meet those obligations. These developments have continued to fuel discussion around his financial management, with some questioning whether his spending aligns with long-term stability and how his wealth is structured. Although Mayweather still participates in exhibition events, he has stated that these appearances are motivated more by personal interest than by financial necessity.
Yes.
But he's just flaunting, as you said, he's flaunting his opulence. He's also flaunting basically his middle finger at the IRS. You cannot do this.
No.
You will lose. This is one foe you can't outrun or outdance or outsmart or play defense on. You just can't get away with it. You can try for a while, but the clock is just, that meter is just running and running and running, and it's just going straight up. Interest and penalties.
Yes!
As we speak. Another day just passed, another interest penalty. And I don't get Floyd because he's so out there with it,
Yes.
as you say, on Instagram. So it's not like he's trying to hide his opulence. He is throwing it out for all to see with all those cars and all the it's outrageous, and he's earned it.
Joe Rogan recently shared his reaction to the lavish lifestyle and financial choices of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan expressed astonishment while discussing Mayweather's collection of luxury possessions, such as premium watches and diamond jewelry. He noted that sustaining that level of spending requires a consistent flow of income, emphasizing that such expenses demand ongoing financial support over time. Mayweather's financial record has also drawn public attention, particularly in relation to tax issues. In 2017, the Internal Revenue Service filed a lien indicating that he owed approximately $22.2 million in unpaid taxes from 2015, a year in which he reportedly earned a significant amount from his fight with Manny Pacquiao. Although Mayweather stated that he had paid around $26 million in taxes for that same period, the situation continued to raise questions due to the reported differences. More recently, in 2024, reports suggested that Mayweather paid more than $18 million to the IRS, indicating that tax-related responsibilities persisted even after his active boxing career. These developments highlight the challenges involved in managing substantial wealth, showing that even the highest-earning athletes must handle their finances carefully. Rogan's remarks ultimately point to the importance of maintaining strong financial discipline, regardless of overall earnings.
He owe that money to the IRS. How much does he owe?
It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to pay.
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this. He makes so much money that there's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right. I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Congrats. You can sell those.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., as former accountant, Dave Hall, portrayed a boxer as someone who approached large amounts of money with a very relaxed mindset. Hall explained that figures like $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 were often viewed as relatively insignificant, suggesting that such amounts did not meaningfully impact his overall financial position. This outlook reflected the idea that his earnings were substantial enough that smaller sums did not require close attention at the same time. Hall noted that this kind of approach can create concerns when it comes to managing finances effectively. In situations involving major investments, such as commercial properties or shopping centers valued at around $100 million, the structure of profits becomes especially important. For example, a gain of $10 million could be subject to very different tax outcomes depending on how it is handled, potentially resulting in significantly higher liabilities if not properly planned. This scenario highlights the importance of careful financial oversight and strategic tax planning, particularly at high income levels. Adjustments in tax regulations, including changes to provisions like the step-up in basis, can further increase financial exposure if they are not managed correctly. Hall's insights are often referenced as a reminder that even significant wealth requires disciplined planning to ensure long-term financial stability.
How much money do you have in your bank account?
Which account? Which bank?
You have more than one account?
Absolutely.
I don't even have one account. Give me the amount of money you have in one of your accounts.
200 million? 300 million?
Dollars?
Yeah, in different accounts.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s former accountant provided perspective on the fighter's relaxed attitude toward money, explaining that amounts such as $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 were often regarded as too minor to require attention. From Mayweather's point of view, these figures reportedly had little impact on his overall finances, reflecting a mindset where smaller sums were not seen as worth closely tracking. This outlook has drawn interest from high net worth investors, who generally consider those same amounts to be highly important. The accountant noted that even slight changes in tax rates can significantly influence returns when large assets are involved. For instance, a $10 million profit from a commercial property or shopping complex could result in a much heavier tax obligation if subject to less favorable conditions compared to a more carefully structured approach. These contrasts emphasize the importance of detailed tax strategy and a clear understanding of financial frameworks when managing substantial wealth. Differences in taxation can greatly affect final outcomes, making precise planning essential for long-term stability. Mayweather's reported tendency to overlook smaller financial details has led some observers to question his overall approach to managing money. While his total earnings remain exceptionally high, this mindset suggests a level of attention that may not always prioritize detailed oversight. Overall, the situation highlights the challenges of handling significant wealth and the potential risks associated with neglecting finer financial elements.
Be able to do a solo 401k, but you can do solo self-directed 401ks, $20,500 contribution that can go in there from you. You can also have employers. I mean, you get up to 50, I think it's actually $64,000 into those this year. So, I mean, again, large amounts you can get inside of there, which if you got the extra money, then builds up to where you can buy properties. Maybe initially you're just doing loans, but over time you're starting to buy actual assets inside of there, and all that's growing tax-free.
Yeah. So do you see any issues coming up front? Any issues coming up, or any challenges, or anything that can affect, tax changes that are coming? Obviously, tax rates are going up, but anything that's, anyone that's listening, that's a real estate investor should be aware of, or?
Yeah. The biggest thing that they're talking about is increasing the long-term capital gains rate. getting it back up to ordinary tax. Now what's being discussed is anything over $1 million transaction. So you'd have many people that are getting into just residences, making 100, 200 grand here or there, $50,000 not going to affect. But for those large investors, obviously that's becoming very concerning, because if you've got a building, big mall or something else, it could be worth $100 million. All of a sudden you've got a $10 million profit on there that's now going to be taxed at 37 or 40 versus 20 to 24. Huge difference. So that's the biggest one people are keeping their eye on. There are some discussions that the step up in basis would go away with death, that people would no longer be able to get real estate with the step up in basis. But both of these have kind of fizzled. Again, they were part of Build Back Better that President Biden could never get enough support for. And with all the other economic issues that are going on right now, they've basically put it all on hold and said, look, we're not going to make any of these big changes until we can get inflation and some of these other things under control.
I saw a thing the other day that I guess it was up to 9.1% inflation.
Yeah,
and it just was that yesterday? I think it was all over Facebook that it went up like even more, and I know that we got quoted on a refinance for like 8%.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s close business associate has raised concerns regarding the fighter's financial health, suggesting that even though his career earnings are believed to have surpassed $1.2 billion, his extravagant way of living could be steadily reducing his overall wealth. The associate explained that ongoing high-cost habits tied to luxury appear to be taking up a significant share of his income, despite the fact that money continues to come in. According to the same source, Mayweather's lifestyle involves major spending on items such as luxury vehicles, private air travel, and premium real estate. These recurring costs are said to climb into the hundreds of thousands each month. Even with yearly income that can reach into the tens of millions, such heavy spending may exceed what he brings in, potentially creating strain on his financial position. On top of that, he still carries obligations related to taxes, including those connected to the Internal Revenue Service. Although Mayweather is widely recognized as one of the richest athletes in the world, this perspective suggests that maintaining such a high-end lifestyle requires a precise balance between earnings and expenses. The combination of continuous spending and unresolved financial responsibilities brings attention to possible long-term challenges. His situation highlights an important lesson, that even those who earn massive amounts can run into financial pressure if spending is not aligned with income and major liabilities remain in place.
Look, man, we both made some real money, but you start burning through, you make $2-3 million a year, you burning through $100,000 a month. You ain't really got that much money.
Shit, he probably spending way more than that.
No, I'm talking regular dudes. Say we made $3 million, we burning through $100,000 a month. We really don't got no paper like that saved up.
That's a fact.
So even if he's making $100 million, if he's burning through $5, $6, $7 million a month, you still got taxes, you still got responsibilities. So I don't know nobody's bag, but me and you, we real. We never count nobody's paper. So
not at all.
I hope he got $10 billion. And I hope he get out of his problem.
That's a fact, because you would figure he should be able to just cash him out. Like whatever the tab is, he should be able to wire that.
That brings us to the end of today's video. Stay connected for the next update, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Vibe for more content.